I did Frederick Douglass. The thesis I came up with was he wanted to promote freedom for all slaves, and to get into depth with that is he wanted to abolish slavery in all forms and aspects and promote the moral and intellectual improvement of colored people. And he was an abolitionist. He had a rough childhood. He was born into slavery and was hired out to a guy named Edward Covey as a slave breaker. And what that was back then was a person who would take in slaves if they were acting up or not listening to their slave owner, and it would basically break his spirit and make him right to work again. And basically, he tried to escape freedom many times throughout his childhood. He was successful after his third time, and before that he was taught by one of his slave owners. Her name was Anna Well, that was his wife. He was taught by one of his slave owners to read the alphabet, and he was taught by his neighborhood and stuff like that. And once he was taught the alphabet and to read and to write, he became interested in politics and freedom, and he ended up escaping slavery with his love that he met in New York named Anna Murray. Writing. He became very successful in writing. His first book was very popular all around the world. It was translated into many different languages, many different European languages because of how popular it was. His first book was the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave, and he was asked to write this book after he was talked to by other abolitionists that were in New York. And he wrote 3 different copies of the book. He edited them when he got older. So his second book was My Bondage and My Freedom, and his last book was Life and Times of Frederick Douglass. And also, while he was in New York, he ran a business called the North Star newspaper. And what the North Star newspaper talked about promoting equal rights for everyone, and it's not just colored people and black people. It's also women's rights, because he was very interested in women's rights. And the newspaper was named the North Star because of the star that is, of course, in the sky, and slaves would look towards the North Star to run away to freedom. Adulthood. He was a very known speaker because he was black, and being black back then, you weren't supposed to be able to speak grammatically correct, and he was able to, and he was very known for that. And so he was also a very confident speaker, and he was asked to lecture different groups to speak about his life, and was the first African American that supported women's rights and came to their first conference that was held in New York. During and after the Civil War today. During and after the Civil War. During the Civil War, he was known as one of the most famous black people around the country. He met with and talked to Lincoln regarding the treatment of black soldiers, and he also met with Andrew Johnson for black suffrage. And for his importance today, he basically helped slaves and all black people and white and women's rights to basically for his importance today, he helped black people throughout the whole country and helps them escape and lead them to freedom. Right. And that's my show.
Okay, we're back.